What is up, fight fans? Welcome back to Picking a Fight. I'm Latch, and today we're going to be looking at UFC Fight Night Grasso versus Araujo. We're going to be looking at the co-main event, Jonathan Martinez versus Cub Swanson. But before we get started, don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you haven't. We're putting out videos for almost every fight night and pay-per-view. So if you're looking for content like this, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out, including UFC 280 next week. So go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss out on that banger. And let's get right into it. So in the co-main event, we got Jonathan the Dragon Martinez versus Killer Cub Swanson. It's a bantamweight bout, so Cub Swanson will be dropping down to 135. Yeah, Jonathan Martinez, he's 16-4. He's 28 years old. He's 5'8" with the 69.5-inch reach. And he's coming off back-to-back wins against Vince Morales and Alejandro Perez. While Cub Swanson, he is 28-12. He's 38 years old. He's 5'8" with a 70-inch reach, and he's coming off a win against Darren Elkins, and before that, a loss to Giga Chikadze. And he will be making his bantamweight debut as a plus 175 underdog. And Jonathan Martinez is minus 205 favorite. Very interesting odds, but they kind of make sense, I think. You know, if you know anything about Jonathan Martinez, he's a very exciting prospect. You know, he's a southpaw striker. He has a very good jab. He uses it very long. In my opinion, he sometimes gets a little too patient. He waits a little too long for his opponents. His defense is him backing up. You know, he doesn't do a lot of parrying or moving his head. He tends to just back up every time his opponent goes. And he's not that great of a counter striker. You know, he just gets out the way using his feet, which works, but kind of leaves a lot to be desired in his striking, you know, because he's a little too patient. Sometimes he's a little too gun shy. He'll just throw out none but his jab. And it has done him well, but I think he can do a little more. You know, when he does get pushed back, he does not do well. His counter striking is not the best, so he does get caught sometimes when he is getting pushed back. He does have great kicks, though, great low kicks, great high kicks. Very powerful, very snappy, and they will be needed in this fight to stop all the movement that Cub Swanson usually creates. You know, Killer Cub Swanson, obviously, he's a UFC veteran. He's a very unique striker. He has kind of a hands-low style, uses a ton of movement. He is pretty powerful, and I think he will be the faster fighter, even though he's coming down to 135. Jonathan Martinez isn't the fastest fighter, but Cub is pretty fast, and he's pretty powerful, especially when he really sits on his shots. And unlike Martinez, he is a good counterpuncher. He can hit guys while they're coming in, and in this fight, he really needs to lead. He can't rely on his counterpunching. He has to push Jonathan Martinez down. They're both listed at 5'8", but Cub has always been a smaller 5'8" at featherweight, you know. So I think Jonathan Martinez will be looking a little bigger. But, you know, Cub Swanson, that's nothing new to him. He's always been kind of small for even at featherweight. So here, I don't think that'll be too big of a deal, especially because Martinez isn't really a grappler. I don't think he'll look to take him down. And so I don't think that strength difference will matter. But I think Cub Swanson really needs to lead this fight. He can't let Martinez get his combinations going. You know, he has to kind of confuse him with his movement and not be there when he counters, especially because Martinez is a little slower. He has to hit him and move and then keep pressing him forward, kind of like how he did in the Darren Elkins fight. He has to kind of approach it the same way, be very aggressive, because I don't think Martinez will be able to counter him. He needs to use his speed to enter and land his big shots, and then use his movement to get out the way. And he has to be wary of those kicks, man. Martinez has some great kicks. I feel like Jonathan Martinez, there's a lot to be desired in his way that he fights. Obviously, he's gotten a 3-fight win streak since that loss to Davey Grant, but I feel like he hasn't looked entirely impressive in those fights. Like, he's just done what he has to do. And so this is a very close fight, but I think I'm gonna have to go with Cub Swanson by decision. I think it's gonna be too tall of a task for Martinez right now to face someone like Cub Swanson. Obviously, Cub, he's kind of gotten that gatekeeper label because he's only lost to the best guys, you know, to Moicano, Chikadze, guys that eventually were in the upper echelon of the featherweight division. And I just think Martinez is not there yet. Obviously, Martinez is not ranked at bantamweight. I think this is too tall of a task for him right now. I do think it is going to be close, but I think Cub Swanson is going to take him to school a little bit. I'm going to have to go Cub Swanson by decision. Martinez has been finished before, but only once. So I don't know if Cub will be able to get him out. And vice versa. Cub has he's been finished twice, but one was that body shot against Giga, and obviously that lost to Jose Aldo in the WEC. So I don't see Martinez finishing Cub either. So I'm going to have to go Cub by decision. It's going to be a very close fight. Let me know what you think. Do you think Jonathan Martinez does have enough to get it done? Do you think Killer Cub puts on a vintage performance? Let me know down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Don't forget to like this video. Subscribe if you haven't. Check out our other videos. We're actually doing the main event and 2 other fights on this same card. So go ahead and check those out if you haven't. And yeah, it's going to be a great night of fights. Don't forget to tune in. A lot of great fighters. It's going to be a fun night, man. Yeah, and we'll see you next week for UFC 280, Oliveira versus Makhachev. Probably the most anticipated fight of the year. So yeah, subscribe so you don't miss our videos on that. And we'll see you then.